Hi guys, and welcome to today's lesson on acids and bases. Today we are going to be looking at the grade 11 theory. That's also very important for your matric exam if you are matric. We are going to be looking at what is an acid-base reaction, the different definitions you need to know. We're going to be looking at acid proticity. We are going to be looking at concentrated versus diluted and strong versus weak acid and bases and ampholytes. So let's get started. Okay, so first things first, what is an acid-base reaction? So an acid-base reaction is a reaction in which that involves the transfer of a proton, a hydrogen ion. And it goes always from the acid to the base. We're going to look at the definitions in the next slide. So if this is my acid and this is my base, my hydrogen atom of my hydrogen ion, this one, the proton that we are going to be referring to, is transferred from this substance to that substance. So this one loses that proton and it just becomes a Cl minus ion. And then since this one, remember, it loses a positive charge. So this one, like it is here, is neutral. So if it loses a positive charge, it becomes negative. And the same, this one then, my base receives that hydrogen atom. So, and it receives that proton, that positive charge. So it makes it, that one is sitting over here now, along with the two other hydrogen atoms. Now it was neutral, but now it has an additional proton, an additional positive charge, so it becomes positive. If I added two hydrogens, for example, it would have had a 2+ charge over there. So this is basically your acid and base reaction. So let's go look at the different definitions we have. Okay, so let's first start with our definitions. We have two definitions that we need to know, the Arrhenius definition and the Brønsted-Lowry definition. So according to Arrhenius, we have an acid that's a substance that produces either, you can say, hydrogen ions or hydronium ions when dissolved in water, where your base is a substance that produces hydroxide ions when dissolved in water. But the most commonly asked and understood definition is your Brønsted-Lowry, which says an acid is a proton donor or a hydrogen ion donor, and the base is a proton receiver. So a cute way to remember this is Brad. Your base receives, your acid donates. So in other words, your acid gives away a proton, a hydrogen ion, and your base receives that. Like we saw in the previous slide when we talked about what is an acid-base reaction. So let's dive even deeper into acids and bases and the different types of acids and bases, concentrated, diluted, strong, weak, all of that. Okay, so acids donate protons, but some acids can donate more than one proton, and we call this proticity. So when I have an acid that can only donate one proton, we call that monoprotic. If it can donate 2 protons, it's diprotic, and if it can donate 3 protons, it's triprotic. So if I look at, for example, sulfuric acid, it has 2 hydrogens that it can donate. So if I do that step by step, first it gives away 1 proton to my water, and then it forms HSO4 minus, and then the hydrogen that connected to the water then forms my hydronium. But now that HSO4 still has 1 H, that 1 proton that it can get rid of. So in a second step, that one then donates the last proton, and it just becomes SO4 minus 2, and then another hydronium, H3O plus, forms. So you can write it step by step, or you can write it all at once. But remember that if you write it at once in one equation, it has to be balanced. So it has to show that altogether 2 hydrogen molecules reacted with 1 sulfuric acid, and then 2 hydroniums were formed. Next up we have the ampholyte. So an ampholyte is a substance that can act as either an acid or a base. So water is a very common example of an ampholyte because it can either act as an acid where it donates one of its protons and it becomes the hydroxide ion, or it can act as a base and it can receive a proton and then it becomes my hydronium. Or another example is in the previous slide we did the diprotic acids. So when sulfuric acid loses one of its electrons, it becomes this, and this is also an ampholyte because it can either act as an acid and donate another hydrogen and become this, or it can act as a base and receive another proton and then it becomes this again. So just in your exam questions, make sure if they ask you for an example of an ampholyte, make sure it's not whether they ask you for any example, so you can just say water, or if they ask you in this reaction, if they give you a reaction and they say in this reaction, what substance in this reaction can act as an ampholyte, so then you need to make sure that it's one of your reactants or your products and not just a random one. Okay, so you have 2 types of acids and 2 types of bases. You have strong and weak acids, and you have strong and weak bases. So the strength of an acid or base refers to the ability of the substance to ionize or dissociate in water. So your acids will always ionize in water, and a strong acid will ionize completely in water. So in other words, there are a lot of all the HCl molecules will ionize into my hydronium ions. There won't be any HCl molecules left. But a weak acid will only partially ionize in water. And these are mostly your carboxylic acids or your weak acids. Or let's say, for example, we have carbonic acid. It's also a weak acid. So that means that not all the carbonic acid that is in my water will ionize to form my hydronium ions. There will still be some carbonic acid left. And the same goes for your bases. A base will dissociate in water, but a strong base will dissociate completely, while your weak base will dissociate only partially in water. So for example, if I take my strong base sodium hydroxide and I mix it with water, all of the sodium hydroxide will dissociate. There will be none left. Whereas with my weak base, there will still be some of the base left that wouldn't have dissociated in the water. The only exception of a base that doesn't dissociate but ionizes is ammonia. Ammonia is the only base that ionizes instead of dissociates. Okay, but if they ever ask you whether an acid is a strong or weak acid and base, we have a chart of common examples that you have to know. Those are in my study guide, the whole table with which are common strong acids and weak acids, common strong bases and weak bases. And that brings us also to the pH scale. So remember, the pH of a solution is a number that represents the acidity or the alkalinity of a substance. So the greater the concentration of the hydrogen ions in a solution, the more acidic the solution and the lower the pH will be. And if there's a lower concentration of hydrogen ions in the solution, the more alkali the solution would be and the higher the pH. So your strong acids have a very, very small pH, where your weak acids have a bit higher, but not very high. Remember, the scale is from 0 to 14. 6, 7, 8, that's normally my neutral, and then higher than that it becomes my weak base, and then the larger the value is, the stronger the base will be. And then just the last thing that they sometimes ask in your exams is the influence of the acid or base strength when it comes to reaction rate and conductivity. So remember, like we said, a strong base or a strong acid ionizes or dissociates completely in water, which means that they, like we said, will have a high concentration of the protons, of my hydrogen ions, and this one will have a low concentration of this, but also a high concentration of my hydroxide ions. So, and what happens is, like we said, the higher the concentration of the ions, the greater the rate of my reaction. Greater concentration, more effective collisions, higher reaction rate. And the same for my conductivity. Remember, for a current to be for something to conduct a current, it needs charge movers. It needs something to move the charge. And in metals, that is my electrons, but ions can also act in the same capacity. So the higher the concentration of my hydroxide or my hydrogen ions, the greater the conductivity will be as well. So just remember that also, they sometimes ask that. And that brings us to concentrated versus dilute acids and bases. So it's very important that you don't mix up strong and weak and concentrated and diluted. So the concentration, remember, is the number of moles of solute per unit volume of solution. So a concentrated acid is an acid with a large amount of solute, the acid, dissolved in a small volume of solvent, which is your water. Where a dilute acid or base is an acid or base with a small amount of solute dissolved in a large volume of solvent. So I have very little acid in a lot of water. So remember, a concentrated acid can be like 1 moles per cubic decimeter, whereas a dilute acid can be 0.01 moles of moles per cubic decimeter of my acid. So it just depends on how much of my acid and base I have in how much water. So you can think of it as, tea versus coffee. Coffee is way more stimulating than tea, but I can have a very strong tea. I can brew my English tea for very, very long, but it still won't have the same effect as coffee. So even if I have very diluted coffee, it will still have more of a kick than my tea. So you can think of it like that. So strong and weak depends on how it ionizes or dissociates in water, whereas my concentration depends on how much of my acid or base I have in my water.